Hi guys, welcome to Dream Designs by Dee. One of the questions that I get most often is how do I do my swag bases? So today when I have one that I'm doing for St. Patrick's Day, so I decided to come on and show you guys my method, and that way you guys hopefully will have the confidence to do it yourself. So I always start off with a 21-inch mesh. Usually, sometimes I do ruffles, but I just pick a coordinating color. I had this gold left over from Christmas, and I thought it would make a good St. Patrick's Day swag, so that's what we're going to put in. This is a evergreen teardrop swag base. I'm 99% sure that this one is from Craft Outlet. That's usually where I get mine. It could also be from the wreath shop. It's a long one, but that's okay because I have a big centerpiece that I want to put in, and the mesh will fill it up and puff it out, and that will give it enough body to hold up the rest of the wreath. So we're going to do it all today, from the poofs to the cutting, and it may be a little bit boring and repetitive, but sometimes that's what wreath making is, until you get to the fun part, which is designing. So you guys might also notice that I'm on my floor here. I feel like that just helps me. My dining room table isn't super big, and even with my mat on it, I have trouble getting my mesh to behave. So it's just easier for me with a base like this to work on the floor. Now when your bases come in, they're kind of all, they look like this, okay? They're really thin because they've been in a box. And the very first thing that you want to do is along the back here where the spine is, you want to fluff it up, okay? You can see in the middle here, right here, where the fluffs are, and that's where the spine is. So you just want to grab your fluffs and go on either side, just spread them out. If you get a gap or something, that's okay. You can go back and fix it. But you really want to make sure that you have enough ties on each side to tie in your mesh. Okay? By the way, this method also works for pine bases. Just if you've been looking for those and kind of wondering how to work with one of those, you can use this method as well. Okay, so once you've got it all nice, I was bending it around a little bit to see if I wanted it shorter, but once you've got it all nice and flat, see right here where it's got, okay. Once you've got it all nice and flat, you can start with your mesh. So I'm going to open this up. Again, this is just 21-inch mesh from Craft Outlet. I have the tag right here, just in case anybody wants it. And I'll go ahead and read this. The item number is RE100108. Again, that's Romeo Echo 100108. And it's just a 21-inch roll of gold mesh from Craft Outlet. Okay, so the very first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to unroll a little bit. And there are some people who cut with a clean edge, and that's perfectly fine. On this, you don't really need to do that because it's not going to show. So you're going to scrunch it up in your hand, and you're going to go up to the very top, the very first tie, and you're just going to kind of, right here next to the door hanger piece, okay? You're going to shove it right in there. And then you're going to take your zip tie and your... Okay, so now that we have it through the branches, I use my 10-inch perfect tail because I like 10-inch poofs, but you can use anything to measure that you want. You can measure on your mat, you can use a ruler or a tape measure, you can count 1, 2, 3, whatever works for you. Okay, so the best part about this is that you can pretty much just tie it wherever you want. So I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, and you can see from here that that's about 10 inches. I was a little off, but that's okay. So you're gonna just take that 10 inches and you're gonna take the end, you're gonna tuck it right inside those branches. Give it a good twist, and then you're gonna fluff it out, okay? And you're gonna see this is gonna really build up this swag and give you a lot of area to work with. Then you're gonna take your mesh, you're gonna make sure the edges are tucked under. 1, this helps with your poof, and 2, if you don't do that, it's really gonna tear up your hands. I like to stick my perfect tail right where I tied it off, pull it out, and then the next part, I'm gonna take this one, pull it down. So when you're doing this, it really doesn't matter where you tie it. You just want to make sure that you tie it, you get enough poofs for what you want, and then that you tie it securely. I also try to stay towards the outer part of the swag, because if you do it towards the inner part, it makes it kind of hard to add all those fun embellishments that we all know and love. And if you follow me at all, you know that I like the big poofy wreaths with lots of embellishments. So I have to make sure I have enough space for those. Okay, so see how the edge is out here? Just gonna tuck it back in and do 10. Now I've seen people do this a lot of ways, and like I said, you can do whichever way suits you. Okay, so here I'm just gonna put this one right here, and it might be kind of close together. That's okay. You can do it as close or as far apart as you want. The spacing, the good thing about this is that the spacing is up to you. It's not gonna matter if you when it's finished, it's not gonna matter if you put them really close together or not so close together. And see the edges out on this side again, so I'm gonna make sure I tuck it back in, and I'm gonna pull it out. And then I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna go right here. And again, these branches, they're flexible, so they can be tucked around, they can be tucked under, in. You can very easily make it so that they can't be seen. And it's adjustable. Until you glue anything down, you can change absolutely anything. Like this one, I feel like it might be a little far in, so that's okay. You simply undo it, and I'm gonna actually put it between this one and this one, just so the mesh stays more to the outer portion. And then I like to tuck, after I fluff it out, I like to tuck that rough edge inside and unroll. Okay, tucking it in again and going 10 inches. And then I think right here looks good for another poof, so I'm gonna put that right in there. Tucking it on, and one of the things you really also want to make sure of is that you're leaving enough branches to kind of support the mesh underneath. And you're going to pull it out again. See how we're starting to get that nice base there? Okay. Now anywhere where it's flipped around or changed, you just grab, tuck, and pull. Just right about 10 inches. After you do it for a while, you don't really have to measure. I'm kind of a stickler for measuring. I know a lot of people who don't measure at all and their wreaths are still beautiful. So the great thing about making wreaths is that you can do it in a way that works for you. Everybody does it a little bit different, and everybody's wreaths still turn out just gorgeous. Okay, see my edges are out again. I'm just gonna tuck it back in. Right? And I'm gonna put this one right in here. And I only do one twist when I'm doing that, only because after you add, we're going to add some ruffles on top of this, and then when we're done adding ruffles, we're going to add some ribbon too. And by the time you put your ribbon in, you've turned it 2 or 3 times, and you really don't need to worry about it anymore. Okay, tuck and measure. All right. Find those branches, get them in there. And one thing you could also think about when you're doing this is how many ribbons you want to cut. If I like to put ribbons in every tie where I've got a poof and a ruffle. If that's not what you want to do, then go ahead and make your poofs further apart. Okay, we're getting close to the end here, so I think I'm going to do one. Okay, so if you one thing you want to watch out for is down towards the bottom. Some of these are kind of short. You want to at least get one long one, because if you don't, when you go to put all the other stuff on there, you won't be able to tie it at the end. Excuse me. And that just sort of makes things unnecessarily complicated. And who needs that, really? Okay, now we're down to the bottom here. So you are gonna have your little swag piece. So I have 2 that are gonna be kind of close down here. That's okay. I just like to get one in the last tie on the bottom. And then I'm gonna go, because once I put the bow on and everything, you won't even be able to tell that this was here. Then I'm going to take this one still with the edges tucked in and still a 10-inch poof, and I'm going to flip my swag around, and I'm going to tie it right here at the beginning of the next one. And the reason I do that is to kind of give it a little bubble at the bottom. because I like to put a bow or usually a bow down there, and that bubble just helps give it a little bit of body. Okay, then you're gonna take this here and you're gonna make sure you got everybody flipped around, and then you're gonna go again, tucking and pulling. And here's two good ones. So we're gonna pull this swag this way, and I'm gonna tuck two right in here. All right, see how much fuller we're already looking? And then I'm gonna, oh, I'm losing my voice. Gonna go right up here to this one. See, and you just kind of find one that'll make it work. You just tuck it in. All right. Then grab my 10-inch marker. I am fighting this mesh something terrible, you guys. Okay, and I don't know if I said when you spread it out, you're just putting your hands in, you're just kind of pulling that poof right out. That looks really big. I think that one looks a little bigger than the other ones. So if that happens, honestly, it's not gonna matter, but if it matters to you, and it matters to me, go back, just remeasure. It's not a big deal. I might have grabbed the wrong perfect tail. I might have just not been paying attention. There's a lot of things that could happen there. There we go. And again, see right there, there's one, it looks like it's just waiting for me. So that's the one we're going to use right there. You don't have to pull it all the way out, whatever your preference is. And then as you get back towards the top, you'll notice there's more like space in the center than there is at the bottom, and that's fine because the top of the swag was wider to begin with, and that works well for me because even though I usually wire in my embellishments, leaving a little bit of the greenery in the center helps me have a place for it to sit down. I like my embellishments to sit on top of the mesh, but I also like them to have a little bit of room sort of become one with the design, if that makes any sense. If they sit too far on top of the mesh, I feel like they just don't have as okay, so once we get up to this top here, you're going to take your last poof. You're going to do your 10 inches right up here. You're going to pull it over to where your two open ties are, where your zip tie was, and you're going to grab another zip tie. Right here. Let me scoot down so you guys can see. And you're going to zip tie it straight. Well, first, go ahead and tie it down. Okay. Right there. Poof it out. And you can see that by doing this, you've already hidden your tie from the first time. Just give it a little poof, get it all situated there, and then take your zip tie, run it around the edge, through everything, and tie it off. Now, a lot of people, well, don't face the larger part of your zip tie, this part right here. Do not face that towards the back, because what's going to happen is it's going to end up scratching your customer's door. You don't want that, or your door, whoever you're making it for. Those things will scratch, scratch, scratch. So we rent our house because my husband is in the military and we move around a lot. And I actually put a huge scratch in our door at our last house because I did not know that you should turn your zip ties to the front. Then I turn it sort of to where the inside is, and no one's ever going to know it was there. Then you're going to take your scissors, just going to cut off the excess. Now I like to get as close, you're going to hide this, but I like to get as close as I can. I just do that around, and then I flip it over, and this little tail from where you zip tied earlier, I give that a clip, and now you're good to go. And see, the back looks all nice and neat, and the front looks all nice and neat too. Now, okay, so what I do after I've cut the mesh at 20 inches is I fold it under. Okay, I do about 1 inch or 1/2 inch. And then I use my outside fingers to pull it towards my thumbs, and I use my thumbs to pinch. Now, then I turn it over and I put it in. I just fold it over and stick it in my hand. That helps keep the fraying from happening. Then I take this, I put it right in the tie where I had my poof. I push it